Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly Star Master today, because today we are carrying on with our short adventure, playing Paizo Publishing's outstanding science fantasy RPG, Starfinder First Edition. And we are playing an adventure called Swords and Planets, a pulp-inspired adventure with a chapter heading of Ever Deal with a Dragon. Actually, I think I changed it for today. I changed today's session to be Jungle Cruise, but it's spelled C-R-E-W-S. So, pulp and puns go hand in hand in my mind. So, but with me today are the victims of my punetry and the stars of today's session. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing today? First up, we've got Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham, and I'm playing Zozumzu, who is a Kasafan Solarian, and I occasionally go Nova.
Nice. And joining him as well is Darren.
Yeah, Darren here. I'm playing Zebiana Lomanov, who is, what was it? It was a half-drow street rat. A little bit on the greedy side, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, so Doc, we were going to have another player play Doc as well, but he has fallen ill as well. So Doc will be once again an NPC. A Yasaki technomancer that will be assisting. He is the tech support and magical support for our heroes. So guys, I know it has been nearly, well, a little more than 24 hours since our last session. But what happened, oopsies, wrong button, Madison. What happened last time? I can use visual aids as we go along here.
Yeah, we were basically set or hired to collect a stolen item, which was originally purchased at auction by this green dragon. What's his name? Urvosk, was it? Urvosk?
Yeah, Urvosk, the High Transiarch. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's this strange green dragon that controls all these portals and gateways to various places on the planet and other planets. So massively rich and powerful creature.
Yep.
So he had hired us to recover the item that he'd purchased, or one of his lackeys had purchased that had been stolen. We'd managed to recover the item. We'd returned to do our meetup, and my character especially was very suspicious of what the item was, and between myself and Doc actually managed to open it up, and we found out we'd actually recovered a key to one of these unused or lost portals to potentially another elven world.
Yeah, we go to the map of Castrovel, the planet that you guys traveled to. The elven homeland on Castrovel is on the continent of Severian, and it is in the Talesian Grove is where the City of Portals is. That is the one that was seized by while the elves occupy the rest of Severian for the most part, that green dragon has taken over there. But the portals you were talking about was somewhere in the continent of Ukalam.
Yeah, where these priest scholars had moved to quite some time ago and set up their own portals eventually.
Yeah.
And we believe this may be the key to one of these portals. So we decided to do a little bit of negotiation, maybe get a better price, guarantee some extra work, when we decided that it wasn't going quite to plan, our little rendezvous, and we got communicated with by the dragon himself, who basically let us in that his agent that we were meant to be meeting had been taken out or killed, and these were imposters that we were actually meeting with. Yeah. And a fight ensued, and we just about made our getaway as we left it last time.
Yeah. So this is the city-state of Kabarat, where you guys had arrived, and it was in one of the I think it was the New Garden District is what we called it. Okay, so your tokens have lost all their bars from me. Let me just try cutting and pasting here. And they're back. I don't know why Roll20 does that now.
No.
So, where we left our heroes was after... Okay, so first off, Graham, anything to add to that?
No, I think that's probably much of everything. We certainly was the explosive end to our negotiation.
Yeah.
So we've had to leave in some haste, having torched a very respectable, well, I don't know respectable, but a very decent looking bar. Having torched that lot and taken out some competitors that are clearly after it. Did we think that they were part of the Rithlin Havar?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what the dragon said, wasn't it? I think,
Yeah.
was it?
So we've got other agents are out there after us, basically, and we were left sort of rushing for a getaway vehicle, really, effectively.
Yeah, so this was...
Yeah, I think they had some other troops coming into the scene just as we sort of jetted off in our car.
The cops.
Yes, which Zeb is very familiar with. So that was the Rithlin Havar Rangers that you guys had faced, along with the guy that I believe you took captive, Jartael.
Jartael, yeah. I like the Rithlin sort of face coverings. I think Zozum sort of slightly covers that. That's quite
Yeah,
nice.
and the Rithlin Havar,
Cool.
like that they're, which is Elven for Pathfinder, they refuse that their belief is that others aren't worthy of seeing Elven faces or shouldn't have any access to Elven
fine by me.
property or culture or whatever else, and including their face. So then. We're picking up with you guys with Jartael in the trunk of your car, you guys driving off, and having had some shots fired at your vehicle.
Yeah.
So, it strikes me that there are two things that you need to avoid immediately here. One of them will be the Rithlin Havar pursuers, who will be hopping on hover bikes to try and catch you. And there are the members of the Kavarat law enforcement who will be arriving. The only upside you have, the neighborhood you're in is not one that, you're not like shooting up downtown, but it was at one point a little more fashionable, so it's not like it's a slum that will never see law enforcement come by. So, what are you guys thinking as far as getting away? We can maybe pick up with you guys roaring away. Doc has, when you arrive, since Zeb, you are the better pilot than he'll hop out of his seat and let you hop into the driver's seat, hammer the gas or the fusion battery, whatever powers it, squeals and it roars off. So what are you guys thinking? Let me tell you what you need to do to get away, to give you some context for how you may want to make use of your skills. I think we're going to use a kind of quasi-skill challenge for this to get you to get away. And it'll be, depending on what tactics you approach, or that you use, that'll be the difficulty of, what do you call it? It'll affect the difficulty of what you're rolling against. So, like, for instance, if you're trying to use piloting to just take some really dangerous maneuvers to weave around, I think we'll say for every success, you'll count as one progress. For every 5 points over that, you'll count 2 other ones. And let's say it's going to be 6 that you need to get in order to get free and clear these guys.
Okay. So these guys on bikes, did you say, or
Yes,
cars?
they are. They have, and actually I have a handout for that too. Oh, I'll put it in chat or on the screen first rather than a handout. But this is.
So I guess they're also a little bit vulnerable to like small gun fire as well. As
They
sort
most
of
definitely
exposed.
are.
So
Yeah.
that's also a factor that my co-pilots or
Yeah.
the rest of the crew could be looking at.
I'll keep the illustration up here. For every failure, I will make an attack against you guys. Your vehicle. You are fully enclosed in this rental vehicle, so you're going to have total armor, but it'll damage the vehicle for whatever goes beyond the what do you call it? Hardness of the vehicle. So I'll let the heroes go first here. So what are you guys thinking? I'm just going to interpret the actions of the enemies and the law enforcement through the lens of you guys.
Okay, so the classic maneuvers I'm looking at, whichever comes up first, is quite busy traffic, last second pulling out massive vehicle, in front, and just maneuvering to the point where either they're gonna crash or have to slow down, or to the point where we know where they're going to have to move so that the guys can sort of shoot them.
Yeah, love that.
They're making a sort of fairly small target.
Yeah. So you hit, you can picture you spin around a corner and there's a, backed up traffic. So you, bump over into the oncoming traffic, weaving back and forth through it. Why don't you give us let's see here.
I use 2 of my 4 hands to sort of steady myself.
Yeah. we call them holy shit handles in Jeeps. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Basically, I'm flying about.
Why don't you give us a DC 20 piloting check, please?
Okay.
Oh, now 1. So, as a reminder, you're starting the session with 2 astonishing fortune.
Yeah, let's start by using one of those.
Burn it quick.
Yay! So I think what happens is you do that, you pull out, and what you don't realize is there's this giant, like, this sci-fi version of a semi-truck coming towards you. Everyone in the vehicle's like, ah! And you pull to the side, wow, around. So that is a success. You got 1 towards your 6. I'll count up on a D6 here.
Yep.
Zoe and Doc, anything you guys wish to have them do?
Maybe I'll do some classic stick my head out the window, fire some suppressing fire to try and...
You do have 4 arms with which to fire from, so there, yeah.
I've got 2 of them holding the door, one of them sticking out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hanging at the window. Ah.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you give us
I'm quite well braced.
Yeah. Give us an attack with one of your range attacks. So not your solar weapon, but one of the others. Oh, actually, you know what? This is a life-threatening situation, so your attunement would start powering up once again.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
So
I'll go with this. Not with that. Sorry, it will be with the Corona laser pistol.
Yeah, that has a really good range. Laser pistols have really great range in Starfinder.
Okay. Any modifiers?
No modifiers. We're just going to see what you roll and interpret it as a skill check.
No problem.
Come on, big money. DC 20 once again. Look at that, 24.
Come on.
So again, the ones that do pick out, you're able to blaze away. That is another success. So some of them have to fall back. One of them, it hits it, and you can see it skids out in the air, scrapes along the side of the kind of motorway, and then biker scout style rolls off of it. That is 2 towards your inevitable 6. Anything you wish Doc to do?
I think he's probably likely to do a similar thing, just to lean out.
Has he got anything sort of temporal or something that would confuse or mask us?
So here's one way that we talked a little after the session about one of the things where that I like about Starfinder is the sci-fi aspect of it, because I enjoy the kind of sci-fi.
Yeah.
What he could do, for instance, is use his computer's skill to start spamming a bunch of emergency calls elsewhere in the area to keep law enforcement off of you.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Okay. I also saw something else here, and I don't know. He's got cantrips. Is that like physical cantrips, or is this electronic?
Just like cantrips in other things, it's spells that he can use at will. So he's not limited in how many he can use per day.
I just wondered if there were like little explosives that he could sort of drop down as they're sort of driving.
He's got like
this.
an energy ray he can do. He also happens to have the evoker specialization, so he can actually like do a decent amount of damage with an energy ray of whatever energy he wants.
Yeah, it's the next. I think that was going to be with regards to computer stuff. I was going to try that on the next attempt to get him to like try and change the traffic lights or something as we literally go through.
Why don't you give us go ahead and click us in his sheet and give us a computers check, please.
Okay, let's try it.
Let's see if he's able to. There is actually a process for, for hacking. Well, that's another one. You got 3 successes so far. So it zips through, and then I think you see, like, as soon as you get through, the light changes once again, and those pursuers kind of like, one or two of them kind of have to weave around traffic that's now going through, and one smashes and goes flying over the hood of the vehicle. Wow. We'll start top of the round. Any of you guys can take another action. What would you like to do? Oh, wait, I get to take an action now. Hold on. Let's have some guys firing at your vehicle, and so you know what the stakes are. Your rental car, I encourage you guys to take out the full size, but you guys wanted to go with the compact to save some money, so
yeah, we didn't do the upgrade, did we?
No, it was a free upgrade to the like space SUV, which would have been as close to driving a tank as you can get in the city, but
I'm regretting not taking the insurance as well now.
Definitely.
I better not scratch this.
That's going to affect the deductible. Let's see. Here we go. Vehicles. So right at the end of the equipment section. Where are you? My friend. Where are you? Lodgings, food. Here we go. All right. Has a hardness of 5 and has 24 hit points. So subtract 5. Hardness just works like DR in this game.
Right.
So we'll have them fire at you. I'm just going to use the standard array for their level. We were talking about this beforehand, but this is something I like about the ease of improvising stuff in Starfinder. I mean, I should have prepped more for this particular encounter, but I've got the full charts for average damage and whatnot, and average attack bonuses for each level of adversary. There's 3 of you. Let's have 3 of them attack you, and that'll be plus. Okay, so plus 9 to hit, and the AC of the vehicle is Casey's 15. So that's 2 hits on the vehicle. It takes 1d6 plus 3, so not a great chance of it going through. So the vehicle has taken a total of 4, 5, 6 points of damage so far. 6 of its 24. Wow. Not even smoking. When it gets to half, that's when there's a trouble. But you don't even need to make a piloting check yet, Zeb, to try and keep control. But they're definitely getting some damage on this. You don't want to be staying in this chase for long. Second round. What would you guys like to do? Do I have a hover vehicle? I've got, actually. I can, so you guys can have a token to keep track of this. Because how much fun is it seeing the health of your getaway vehicle slowly getting lower? Let's see. There we go. This will look familiar to you. This is obviously what you would have got had you upgraded. Here we go. Controlled by all players. All players can edit. And we'll give it a 24. There you go. And it took, what did I say, 5 points of damage?
6.
6 points of damage. Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay, yeah, it's getting there. All right, then.
That's a thing.
it is top of the round. Any of you guys can try anything else. You can try the same type of maneuver again if you'd like. I might bump up the difficulty class if you're going to use the same thing in a row.
I was looking to work in conjunction with Doc and see if he can do some sort of invisibility on the back of the vehicle, or I don't know how much area effect it does.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
He
Would not be able to affect that with it. But what he could do is if, say, Zoe wants to hit a little harder, he has a spell called Overcharge. And what that does is it buffs up the next attack with a certain weapon. So let's see here.
Okay. How many are chasing us? Do we know? Is it
it's sort of, speeded. I'm going to do 3 attacks on you each round. But what will allow those with a hit, and for every one of these things, so the bikes that are chasing you, they have hardness 5 but only 7 hit points. So if, say, Zoe damages one of them with his weapons, the basic laser pistol is unlikely to take one of them out. But with the supercharged up, what I would say is if Doc's using that, then for each number of the vehicles that he could take out, I'll give you an extra success beyond just the hit that he get from a hit. And the overcharge weapon, I think I may have mislabeled that. Supercharged weapon. I'm combining 2 spells. Supercharged weapon does an additional 4d6 damage against a single target.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to try that first then? See if we can knock one of the pursuers out.
Okay.
Let's see if we can have a go at that. Okay.
So
is that automatic from Doc? Is it?
He needs to cast it, so he will cast the spell. How do you? You guys have obviously been in situations like this before, where Zeb's behind the wheel, Doc is supporting, and Zoe is, out the window. How do you keep finding yourself in this position, Zoe? What's the shorthand that you have with Doc when he he needs to supercharge your pistol?
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so it's one of those things where he'll I think Doc, looking at him, he'll just do this with his ears.
Yeah, okay.
I just kind of know it's coming.
Yeah. So then he turns, he will need to touch your weapon, I believe.
Okay, it's fine.
Yes. Yeah, so you sort of hand over from one of your hands to another.
Yep.
Yeah. So Doc speaks some arcane words. He touches your pistol, and as you bring it out to fire again, it's just like, it looks like, when a blaster's about to overload or a phaser is going to overload and things, like there's steam coming off of it. It's just seething with power. Yeah,
the plate's been a little bit too long in the oven. You pull
exactly.
It out and
yeah. So go ahead and give us an attack roll. DC for this one is going to be a EAC is 10.
Okay.
That is a hit, and it's 5 over, so you got 2 successes, and then roll 4d6 for us, please.
Yeah.
For your extra damage.
Of course.
Come on, big money. 13 extra. That's a total of 21 damage. That is enough to take one of them free and clear out, and to damage another one, sufficient that they need to make a piloting check. Whoop.
Yeah, it sort of explodes and sort of pulls across into their way, and they've got to suddenly violently try and get out of the way as they...
Yeah. So when you fire, instead of the single kind of beams or whatever else, there's this that fires out of it. It creates a fireball where one of these cycles once was. And then another one of them is, clips the fiery wreckage of this, and then has this skid to a stop, allowing you guys to make your escape. It is another, leaving the sounds of sirens and gunfire behind. It is another maybe 15 minutes of winding your way through, taking back alleys, trying to make sure you slow down. You can, during this time, if you like, do 2 things. One, you can spend a resolve point to recover all of your lost stamina points. And then, Zeb, you have some abilities that trigger or can only be triggered during that time. So, for instance, your What Did We Learn ability, you can grant your allies +2 on an attack, save, or skill check they make in the next 8 hours.
And that's a resolve point, isn't it?
No, because it's when it's phrased, I have phrased it a little weirdly. It's when you spend a resolve point to recover stamina, you also get to do that.
I do it at the same time.
Yeah, same time.
Oh, right, yeah, I will definitely. I was gonna probably do it.
Okay.
Recover me stamina anyway, so I'll do that at the same time then, definitely.
Okay. And then, Zoe, I don't know if you've got anything that triggers in addition to just when you recover. You could.
I don't think so, no.
Oh, your meditation thing that gives you the bonus to stealth and survival. That lasts until combat or until you fall. So you could also spend a minute just refocusing yourself.
Okay, I can do that.
Would you like to recover your stamina points with the resolve?
Yeah, I will. I'll spend the resolve point and do that.
So your green bar is your resolve points. Your blue is your stamina. So you have an address that has been sent as your what do you call it? Here, I'll move your guys. That's right, because the tokens are right at the fucking top. So there you go. Voila. You have the address for where the safe house is. You have Jartael in the trunk. How are you guys planning on approaching this? Docks says...
It's in the docks, was it? Docks of town?
Yeah, it's down by the port, basically, because Kabarat is a port city. And Doc says, they sure seem to be able to find us pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's anything on this device that's tracking us.
Or
maybe
what else we've got in the trunk.
Yeah, let's check the trunk.
Well,
so he is going to be unconscious still for quite a while. So if you pull over in an alleyway, pop the trunk, he is still unconscious. If you'd like Doc to try and disable any kind of space GPS stuff that might be on this guy, just give us an engineering check from him.
Or at least try and find it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oof.
So he is definitely able to find that and disable whatever is on there. This is maybe the 10 minutes when you're taking a moment to catch your breath. So what are you guys thinking? You've had, this is the first time you've had a chance to think and plan.
So the question is, do we want to disable that, or do we want to put it somewhere so they think we're stationary or on somebody else, so it's like going off around town, just to give us a bit more of a one-up on them?
With a check of 30, he could definitely do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So wherever we've stopped to check it out, we'll leave it somewhere there that it's potentially not going to be found, and we're fairly close now, aren't we? So
one thing I mentioned before is that Castrovel is populated by a ton of space dinosaurs, and the cover of Packed Worlds, in fact, is on Castrovel. Those are, your mind may go to the more, glamorous, giant, scary dinosaurs, but large and small. The equivalents of like pigeons or street rats or things like that would be reptilian or insectoid on this planet. So if you want to grab something and attach it to that, you certainly could do that as well. You would just need to do so.
Oh, okay, so that's fairly easy to do. Yeah, I mean, something that wouldn't be moving ridiculously fast or flying, or something that's a bit more cat-like, or sort of that sort of size that's going to be believable. It could be someone walking about or running about.
Okay.
So we'll stick that on there just as a temporary measure, so they don't know exactly when we arrive.
Love it. Okay.
And then we're how far away do you think we should sort of pull up in the vehicle and go on foot, or?
you've looked at a map of Kabarat, and where the safe house is a little. It's not like directly facing out onto the wharf, but it's one of like a combo of like garage and loft kind of place that would be maybe 2 or 3 blocks away from the docks.
And what was the decision on the invisibility for Doc? Is it just on himself? Or
Yeah,
is
it's
it
just that's a
little
personal
area?
size. In order to do something larger,
Okay.
he needs mass invisibility, which is something he's not capable of yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can make himself invisible, though.
Yeah. Or disguise himself as someone else.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He's got that. He still has that spell cache where you can dump the spell into
Yeah.
it.
I don't know if that would help us or not, unless we saw someone coming out of the building that we could try and mimic going back in, maybe.
The directions you've been given is there's effectively like a garage you can go into. You've got a code you can go in. It's a safe house as well, which means that it's not occupied, and there will be no one else there. But he will contact you there.
Right, so that's the plan. We're meant to be just holding up there until. Okay. Well, do we take him at face value and trust him
Think
for
so.
now and just be cautious, but
Yeah.
just keep our eye open and see how we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Think so.
Okay. So he's driving up to the safe house, entering the code he's
I
given
think we
you.
drive up and then park the vehicle once everyone's out and we've got this body out as quick as possible into the safe house, then just park it like 1 block away so it's not sitting outside the place. The cops might sort of see it after the shoot up.
Sure. And I think you guys could find. Well, first off, what you find in the safe house is it is as described. There are no. It's what you've got access to is like one part of a corner of a building that's about 6 or 7 stories tall. It looks like this is probably at one point used as some kind of administrative building / it's not one of the like larger, like strictly one purpose like warehouse or whatever else. It's one of these multi-purpose buildings that has like shops and whatnot that are all closed, but then there's also this garage that seems to have been left over. You're able to access it without any issues. If you would like to give us perception checks, you're welcome to do so. Let's see if there's anything. I'm assuming you guys are being a little cautious with it. Nat 20, Zoe. So here's what you pick up. So and Zeb, like that's not to take away from an 11 is. And now 1.
Sorry.
You've got the bell curve sorted out right now. So. We'll go.
I did a crit originally, didn't I?
You have a crit. We're going with that. Yeah, your first result was the 1. So a nat 20 is good enough. Zeb, you probably would have noticed this as well. There is an awful lot of. There's a lot more subtle surveillance cameras and security cameras specifically around the one area, and as you approach this thing. You have no difficulty getting in there. There are lights on in other parts of the building, but not, it seems, as in part of where you're accessing. And once you get inside, you can see that this garage likely would accommodate maybe 3 vehicles about what your size a vehicle is, or 1 much larger vehicle. It definitely seems a place where this was probably a residence at one point, because there's from the garage it leads kind of directly into where there's a kitchen. You can see there's a loft and open area. Yeah, it's a very open concept kind of place where you should be able to see most anything from anywhere in here. You notice as well, Zoe, that there are cameras within here, and there are some kind of like polarizing effect that's been put on the windows, so no one can see in from the outside.
Nice.
So once you guys get out, you take this guy out. I'm assuming you're securing him in some way as well.
Yeah, I think it might be worth us sort of temporarily disabling all the cameras apart from maybe 1. and we'll just use that as if we want to talk to them or we want to let them know we're still there, and we can stick the captive like in view, so they can sort of keep an eye on him as well.
So that's a good idea to talk about what. So the way that you normally would access things, there are, when you access a computer in Starfinder, you have there's different, the way they model sort of what you can get away with in it is the different levels of access. You know, so like if you have unlimited access, I think it's called root access in the game. If you have root access, you can do anything with whatever the computer is attached to. Otherwise, you're restricted to whatever your administrative level is. Turning off cameras would probably be something that would be a very basic level. It's just adjusting the lights and whatnot. If you give us a computers check with Doc, he's quite good, so there's a chance of doing that, but I think it's like plus 10 to the difficulty number to try and gain root access without either like some kind of code. That's pretty close. So Doc is no slouch in the hacking department. He's not as good as what, like, say, a mechanic might be, but he's quite fucking good. If you tell Zeb to do that, or Zeb tells Doc to do that, he's kind of tapping away as you're getting this guy supplied. And he says, Zeb, I can, there's a lot I can do, but they've hidden access for the cameras behind a root access. There's not much I can do. It seems that someone wants to keep eyes on us. That's definitely, you would know from context, that is definitely a custom security arrangement that's been set up. And also there's a firewall on it, which means someone has set up levels of protection for you accessing that node. Like where metaphorically, the room where in the kind of, cyberspace, where that thing would be accessed. Again, very unusual. This is just a flop for some, car enthusiast or vehicle enthusiast. They wouldn't be doing that. They would, it's unlikely they would have cameras in their own house anyway, but hiding them beyond a certain level, clearly someone has spent some money to be able to keep eyes on whoever is here or whatever is going on in here.
Okay. Well, I think at least one of them, Zeb's gonna sort of say, as sort of messing about with the camera, would like a little bit of privacy, and then just gonna old school just cover it up with stuff.
There's that actually is another point, because there's different ways to get into the same problem. While like accessing the root problem, that's not tearing apart the thing or mechanically disabling it. Yeah. Doc could easily use his engineering and his tools to just disable these things. Yeah, not damage them long term, but just okay. We want just. Give us this one, and we're just going to disable that one and have this sort of corner of the room or whatever for us to sort of talk and do whatever. Yeah, and then we'll leave the others on. You receive a text message from him or from someone from the same unknown, contact that you got before. That effectively says, while normally I am loath for others to damage my property, given that I failed to meet the promised safety of this, your caution is understandable. Of the meeting, he means.
Yep.
So, with that disabled, with the car stashed, with you guys having a private corner, where is this guy tied up, do you think? Is he still in the vehicle, or the vehicles are elsewhere? Is he in your,
Yeah, I think we want to have him tied up, and like I say, in plain sight of one or maybe even two of these cameras.
Okay.
So that if we turn our back or something, I'm thinking they've probably got someone watching us or watching the room, and they could your guy's running off.
Yeah.
That's an extra pair of eyes to keep an eye on him.
Sounds good.
Just in case.
This is the text message you get when he's set up in plain view.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't want him particularly, but I thought the guy who'd had his agent killed would be very interested to speak to him. So
yeah.
I just replied to that. He's all yours.
Okay. So with you guys finding your corner to where you've got the thing disabled, Doc would probably make it the kitchen, so you guys can actually, grab some. You never got a chance to get a bite at the restaurant. And Doc says, "What are we going to do now then? Just wait?"
Well, I feel we're in a position where we've got to really. I think they'll be fairly keen to speak to this guy who's got involved and killed their agent. So I think they'll be sending someone fairly soon. We just need to keep our wits about us, get our breath back, get some food in us, and be ready to go a moment's notice.
Yeah.
They seem to have kept their word so far. This place looks pretty secure.
It's pretty secure. Could we just, on that basis, just work out if we need to leave quickly, how we're going to do it? So, you know what I mean? Is there like a back entrance? Yeah. Is there like a back door? Something that we could just
definitely. There would be like
just rehearse it.
A garage door leading into sort of the main. I'm kind of picturing that this is. The buildings that are built on a bit of an incline, because where the port is, it probably has a bit of an incline to it. So the entrance to the garage is probably on one level, and there's some supplies and whatever else there, and then it would lead up to a second level, and that would have a man door exit onto the street that would be effectively one level above where the garage is.
Yeah, it's my house.
And then there'd be a man door next to the garage door as well.
Yes.
Sort of the man door. I had a claim recently where it was a garage door fell on someone. So I spent 4 fucking hours with an engineer learning how garage doors function and the different. So my mind is full of like man door versus garage door. So anyway. The joys I get to learn at my door. So what I'm going to say is that in the next year, when there's going to be a whole bunch of door-related stuff happening in Traveler and Spires of Paradar, you'll understand where that's coming from.
Okay.
So
that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Never let a good bit of trivia go to waste. So there is also likely enough supplies here to work on any kind of mechanical stuff, like basic supplies. There's as much food and drink as what you would care for. You have access to computers here that would have access to the Castrovel, internet kind of thing, or infosphere. I can't remember what it's called in this game, but in any event. So you have at least one exit here, and although the doors are paralyzed, in worst case scenario, you could blast a window out and get out that way. I don't think there are any other vehicles stored in here right now, but you do have that one parked a couple blocks away. So anything you guys wish to do in the interim while you're waiting for word?
I think we try and keep our sort of digital footprint as low as possible. So although we have access to services, I think we try and just minimize the amount of digital noise we make while we're here.
Okay. So if you pop on the television, you do get one nice surprise, is that there is a marathon of episodes of live performances from the amazing Zipsop, who is a specialist in close-up slow-motion magic. He is... Do I have the illustration of the amazing Zipsop? I think I do.
Is it related to Zozom?
Yeah, I do. I'm a fan of the things. Though Zozom Zoo is actually a pre-gen name from that they have, and that's actually the short version. Zo's proper name is Zo Tutwaf Zom Midrier Sin of Clan Zoo.
Yeah, we'll go with Zozom.
Okay, hold on here. Where is he? So... I'm trying to remember the timing of this. thing.
I guess we could talk to our guest if he wakes up before they.
He definitely
make
would.
contact
If you
with
would
us.
like to interrogate him, you're certainly welcome to do so.
I just wanted to find out if he knew what this artifact was. If he knew which
Sure.
portal or gate it was for.
Yeah,
He
so
would
if we...
give us that information.
You have him secured, so when he wakes up, where do you said you sort of have him in a common area?
Yeah, just sitting in a chair, in some sort of lounge area or common, seating area.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what I named the thing, unfortunately. I mean, maybe fortunately. It's a joke I've trotted out in every Starfinder session we've had, I think. I have one more thing I want to try here. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, it's so frustrating. So they've just done this fucking thing where they've, I'm sure it has to do something to do with their memory thing, but they've, games that you haven't played in a certain length of time, they've all been put in frozen storage or some nonsense, and it means that the transmogrifier tool, which is one of the best features of Roll20, where you can grab stuff from other games, if the thing's frozen, you can't access it. So you have to go in, open up the game again, and then go and grab the thing. Roll20, come on. Like, of all things, storage should be the thing that you're not hurting for in today's day and age, but... Anyway, so what you find when he comes to is he, initially kind of panics and tries to kind of, figure out where he is, but then he sees you. And his eyes narrow, particularly at you, Zeb. And once again, he shares the same slur that one of the other elves had used for you earlier. One of the now incinerated elves, thanks to Zoe's supernova. What do you say?
I think I'll make it super clear that we've got the object that they were looking for. It'll be in sight, somewhere, so that he knows we've got it.
Sure.
And
so, like sitting with like the case open.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be interesting when our new acquaintance, a green dragon, sends one of his men to come and pick you up. Unless you obviously want to give us the information we're looking for and we don't need to speak to them. What is this item that we've got here?
The glare he gives you, Zeb, if you're trying to be kind of friendly right now, is as hard as fucking diamond. Like, he is just the amount of hate that he has in that. And he says in Elven, which I think Zoe doesn't understand. Yeah, he says in Elven to you, I knew your kind worshipped demons, so it is little surprise you throw your lot in with them. It will be ours again.
And what is it that you talk of?
His eyes narrow. Your ignorance only matches your perfidy. This, you will learn nothing from me. Now, he says that, but he hasn't met you yet. So you can most certainly take advantage of some of your skills if you'd like to try and loosen his tongue. Mechanically speaking, right now he is hostile towards you. So you can certainly make use of any of your many social abilities and skills to encourage him to rethink his position.
Yeah, I've got my slick customer.
Diplomacy is tough when they are hostile towards you. What you can try and do with diplomacy is improve
intimidation,
his position, but like that goes from, I think, hostile to unfriendly.
Yeah, I don't think we've got time for buttering him up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll try the intimidation route.
Yeah, okay. What I was going to say, just you can still try and improve, but at best you would get him, I think, is too indifferent with like an extraordinarily good roll. But I mention it only because your character does have that's the thematic space that kind of your envoy operates. So the skill bonus and the other abilities you've got, that's where the very unlikely events can happen. I think getting out of him, I only mention that just to give you a sense of what how the game allows you to have those those places where your character excels over others.
Yeah. I mean, could I assist and literally have have 4 of my fingers just with little bits of flickers of fire just sort of flickering on them, and I'm just sort of idly doing that as you're going along, not even looking at him. Just he'll just remember.
Yeah. So why don't you give us a intimidation check there, Zoe, and it's a DC 10 you're rolling against to assist. Yep. So +2 to Zeb's intimidation.
Okay, we'll try the good cop bad cop routine then.
Okay. So that'll be +2 to your diplomacy check. Do you say anything, Zoe?
No. Just a smile.
I will point out that while Drow is there's a lot of things that are different about it, he probably would recognize it when he hears it. So if you wanted to say something in Drow to him, he may not even understand it.
But I may well do that. I'll just say, there can be very painful fire in the darkness, in the Underdark.
Okay. So the sinister reflection of your the dancing solar, and almost like like a sunspot, kind of with things arcing from one finger to another, reflected in your black eyes. And then Zeb. So a change attitude. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so the difficulty is set by the opponent's total diplomacy bonus, or by 15 plus. Okay, I'm actually using some optional rules from Starfinder Enhanced. So I'll tell you what the difficulty is.
Okay.
Like one of the things, and like a lot of these level-based games, I think what you can choose to do when you're designing your sessions and the difficulties and whatnot is decide how, challenged the players are. And with once you've got a couple of levels underneath it, you've got that range to make the characters feel more competent, which I really like for the pulpy kind of vibe I want to go for this thing. DC will be 19 for him, and then if you succeed, you improve it by 1. If you beat it by 5, so if you roll 24 or higher, you can improve it to spend 3 additional minutes. 5 additional minutes? 10 minutes. 10 minutes extra to improve it by 1. So you actually might be able to reduce him down to indifferent instead of hostile.
Okay. I'm going to try that then. So I'm going to get up close, soften my voice.
So I forgot, he is hostile, which means it's a 29 is the difficulty number. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still going to give it a go because I've got my expertise as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Getting close, soften the voice, give him something to drink, look over at Zozum and his sort of twitching fire fingers. I said, I really don't want it to go this way. I'd rather just get this information. We can go our separate ways. I'm not even tied to this dragon. This item. I don't even know what it is. That's what I was hoping you could tell me. we don't need to, this don't need to end badly. And I'll see if
Sure.
see if I can touch on a nerve or anything.
Let's see. So you get +2 to this, and then because if you're a slick customer, you can choose to add expertise after you see the result.
So it's a diplomacy
Yeah.
and then I'll do the expertise.
You got a +2 as well. Oh, look at that.
So here's the thing. Yeah, you've already got. You could now add your expertise onto that, and so it's 32 plus 5 is 37. So you've done what's required here. He looks at you, looks at them, and it is a testament to just how silver of a tongue that Zeb has, that this guy seems to... The hate fades a bit from his glare. Then he leans back. He's not saying anything as of yet. What do you say?
And I think I might leave it there for a few minutes.
Okay.
And I'll just sort of, as I go away, again, all this is sort of whispered, so to look like Zozam wouldn't be able to hear.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with that thought, and I'll just go and get him something to eat or drink, and just sort of prepare something at the kitchen, and come back in a few minutes.
Okay.
And just say, what's your decision?
Mm-hmm.
You speak to me, or do I leave you with my friend?
Sure. So let's do this. I think there is... You've dumped the... Because he's indifferent now, diplomacy is now a 19. So why don't you give us another diplomacy check?
Okay.
Let's see what you can get out of this.
15, yeah.
So
Can
here's
I
the
add
thing.
my expertise?
You can use your expertise and reroll. You can use your astonishing fortune to reroll.
But can I add my expertise onto the
Well,
21? Or...
Two different options. Your slick customer allows you to either re-roll that,
Yeah.
and then I don't think you add your slick customer. Right, so you can either re-roll that and forgo the expertise, or you can roll expertise and get it again. What was your roll?
21, I just.
That was an
got
8.
there.
So, what are you thinking? Just roll your expertise and add it, or re-roll that?
I'm going to re-roll it.
Okay.
Come on.
Oh, shit. Wrong one.
You already prompted for that. 31!
Oh, gosh.
Okay,
Wow.
so then
Wow.
let's see here. Yeah, his eyes narrow, and he says, you obviously know it is a key. We know the rattling is he's schooled enough to even know that, ignorant though his kind may be.
But a key to what?
He looks at you like, come on.
Or where, should I say?
Where we do not know. But what we learned and the dragon stole, it leads through to one of the untouched Oasian colonies. One, and he's studying you, where one of the 7 swords traveled. You may recall that what Doc had told you, I think it was Doc, maybe who rolled it? Maybe it was one of you guys. One of you guys knew the...
I think it was me, actually.
okay,
Yeah.
so maybe you, yeah. So
The 7 priests.
yeah, the 7 sworn swords, where they basically fused a scholar priest's spirit into these swords, and when the Oasian priest scholars fractured and went out across the galaxy, they were sent as sort of ways of bringing them back together, repositories of knowledge.
So the 7 priests still live?
The 7, you would know, if you're asking like for what your character would have known, the Seven Priests do not live. They don't live in the sense of having living bodies. But when they were alive, the Oasian scholar priests were so intent on recording information, they would tattoo it on their very bodies.
Well,
imagine what they would have encoded with their spirits in these swords if they were intended to be a way to bring them back together. There must be some mechanism for linking them and for finding them.
So it's the swords more than the people, really. That's still the thing.
These are the legacy of my people. We are the ones who should be walking these paths. You are agent of a monster who would usurp that and use it to their own profitable aims. Your people are degenerates, and I see that you are mixed. Your blood is diluted. But surely even as tenuous a connection you have to the true elven heritage, you recognize how wrong it is to throw in with such a thing. Elves should have that. It is the heir and legacy of our kind.
Yeah, she thinks it over.
Okay.
And I think at that point we'll go and speak to Zozum.
Yeah, you can. This guy's got nothing. I mean, you can certainly come back to him whenever you like. But yeah, you guys head over to your kitchen once again. Doc is cooking up something. And
yeah, so basically,
yeah.
I mean, I'll explain what you might not have heard.
Yeah. Well, he's got a point, hasn't he?
He has, but they are quite.
Yeah.
They are an elven kind of supremacist type, or at least an elven advancement group. The real Havard, Rithlin Havard, don't. They're the only ones who should have that stuff, but they're different, and their goals are different from the Vindicators. Remember, the Vindicators were the other faction that you saw there who wanted to find whoever was to avenge whatever happened to the Gap, or during the Gap, whoever caused the Gap.
They're all fairly ruthless and violent in their methods, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel any strong ties to him.
No, and I wonder if the dragon presumably is after the artifact.
I think Zeb is for the most profitable return, but also the easiest life, which I think is potentially having a dragon ally rather than.
Well, you will know too, the members of the Rithlin of Var might have perspective on it, but remember that there are plenty of elves who work with the dragon as well. Yeah. Because as long as you got the funds for
faction,
it. Yeah.
I think the easy life is going to be the tricky one.
Oh yeah, there's nothing easy in this life, but easier.
Takes you down a path, certainly. Takes you down a path.
So, are we going to wait for a contact from our new?
That seems to be the route we've taken, doesn't it?
I mean, we could try and lead that, I guess, by contacting them. Can we reply, or is it
absolutely
almost a one-way thing here?
Okay.
What's your message to the unknown number, to the High Transiarch?
Is someone? Have you got a time for the collection of our guest and the item? and our payment?
There is a pause of about maybe 5 minutes before you get a response, and the response is a message, once again saying, apologies for the delay. Matters with the Rithlin Havar have stretched my resources in Kabarat, but I have been making arrangements for the next stage of your engagement, if you are available and interested. And what you also get notification of is that there has been, whatever you use to track your, banking or whatnot, Zeb, you would have given their, where to pay the credits kind of thing beforehand, and that has been transferred. You have been paid in full for this task, plus an extra 20% on top of what you were expecting.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, that cheers her up.
Numbers go up.
Pizza's on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we'll wait it out then.
Yeah, so.
I don't think I'll sort of shut it down one way or the other with this guy. I think I'll leave him sort of hanging on what we're going to do.
Okay.
And not, unnecessarily annoy him more one way or the other. So, yeah, we'll leave it. And
it stays at indifferent as well until circumstances can change over time, but you have him at indifferent for the day now. So if you choose to go back and get other information, you can certainly do so. It is around another hour before you get another invite. There is, what he indicates is that down below there is a effectively like a shop, like a workshop that would afford the privacy for a holographic call.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We will keep eyes on him.
Okay. We'll take him up on that offer. Three of us go down.
So you head down into it, and once you get down there, there is a almost as soon as you sort of set up the the thing to make the holographic call, there is someone who appears, and I think this is the nature of this one is going to be something akin to like the Star Wars hologram stuff, where it's not like in full color or whatever. It's just a pretty basic thing that displays in like blue or green. And let's see if I've got. Here we go. Perfect. This is the person who shows up on it. Now, you would know that this person is a Lashunta, one of the other species that is native to Castrovel. Mildly telepathic, and they are one of the three dominant species kind of on Castrovel. And he appears and says, I am an agent of the High Transiarch. He apologizes that he could not attend this call. There are other matters in motion, as I'm sure you can appreciate. I have been briefed on what has occurred, and the High Transiarch has asked me to express his apologies again for the inconvenience occasioned by the Rithlin Havar. He has asked me to assure you it will not, that they will be dealt with.
Well, it's nice to know, but let's just check you out, shall we? We don't want it to happen all over again. What's your name?
My name is not important. My relationship with the High Transiarch is. I speak in his name, and that is the only one who should concern you.
Okay. In which case, I'll ask him. And so I want to double check that what we have in front of us is actually from him.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Why don't you have Doc give you? He's your tech expert. You can give us a computers check too, but I think Doc might be the guy you better.
Yeah, probably.
Equipped. Okay. It's definitely from the same unknown contact that Zeb had. Okay. From what Doc can tell, there's no like spliced feed, there's no like hacking of the signal or anything like that. This seems to be a genuine thing. He could also tell you that the level of security on this call is comparable to what was preventing him from accessing the cameras.
All right. Okay, well, you check out.
He waits patiently on the call while you do so, too.
Yeah.
And he says, I trust you are satisfied?
Fine, carry on.
The High Transiarch has also instructed me to express his... how grateful he is for your effectiveness and professionalism with this task, and he would have another for you. Although we've been disconnected from OBS for some reason. That's happened like... And we're reconnected. That's frustrating. There's 3 times that's happened in the last like week or so. I think I need to check my internet connection.
Some sort of link between your OBS and YouTube or something. Yeah,
it could be YouTube as well, because like the stream is like, we're not being disrupted here whatsoever, so I don't know. But in any event, what he says is that the High Transiarch requires, I take it, we understand that you are aware of what this device is and what it does. The High Transiarch has an interest in seeing what is on the other side of this gate.
Oh yeah.
And Doc kind of many others.
his nose kind of twitches, and he's like, "But to do that, where is?" Oh, forgive me. I need to get that name once again. I didn't write it down for myself. But to do that, you would need to know where Loskialua is. And he looks and says, indeed. And you may remember Loskialua is the lost city of the Oatians. The High Transiarch has found Loskialua, with the location and the key, assuming that the Iodara is still functioning. We need to find what is on the other side. And what the member of the Rithlin Havar told you is correct. We believe that one of the Oatian swords will be found on the other end of that Iodara, which could offer untold amounts of lost information and a great deal more about the paths that the elves and the Lashunta traveled before. You would know this before. The elves, they're called elf gates and whatnot, but Lashuntan civilization also made use of these things. And the Lashunta kind of think that the elves stole their shtick. If you ask Doc, that's not necessarily, that probably isn't the case, but that doesn't stop the Lashunta from believing that, like, these fucking elves just saying that they're the ones who did it. We built these fucking things. The truth is going to be found in some archaeological dig. But this guy says the reward, the payment for this task is simply to travel to Loskialua, find the appropriate Iodara, and travel through. Recovery of the sword will net a substantial bonus on top of the generous terms of this contract. I trust that you will wish to discuss this in privacy. The High Transiarch has assured me, or instructed me to assure you, once I terminate this call, you will have full privacy to speak amongst yourselves and decide. If you do decide to do so, the High Transiarch can arrange for travel on planet from Kabarat to a staging ground on Ukulam. We have arranged for local guides to transport you to them, and in light of recent events, we have taken extra steps to ensure that those parties can be trusted. Alternatively, you are welcome to take the solar wave. It is a modest starport, but from what I have been led to believe, you are used to making use of such starports. If you choose to leave your vessel here, rest assured it will be monitored by agents of the High Transiarch. Unless you have any questions. Then we'll leave you to discuss. We will look forward to hearing your response. And actually, he would say the High Transiarch will look forward to hearing your response. I don't think he would be so presumptuous as to say we when you have a dragon as your master.
Mm.
He nods, and the hologram disappears. If you wish to be careful, Doc can do a quick search. The cameras in here appear to be disabled.
Okay.
So why don't we do this, guys? We're well past it right now. When we take our mid-session break, refresh our beverages, think it over, and then we will see what you decide when we come back in about 5 minutes. So for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right. I mean, we started a little bit late, but even then, time's been fucking flying today. I can't believe we're in the last hour already. It's these chatty sessions. Although you guys did get guns blazing earlier on, too, so...
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what is... oh, great, THX. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what happened with the connection on OBS, but it just... something dropped it for a moment. I'm glad to hear it cleared up. THX, hope also, before I forget to, hope you have a wonderful New Year's Eve and a great start to 2024 as well. It's true for everyone who is joining us, I should say. THX has been with us over the holidays for most of our sessions too. Oh, and I hope you enjoyed Conan as well. He posted yesterday that he was watching the first part of that. All right. It was a shame we weren't able to carry on with Conan yesterday, but the nap I had afterwards in place of it was a pretty fucking great consolation prize. It was amazing. Okay, so then, guys, what are you thinking? What are your concerns? What are your opportunities here? If you do take the task, do you leave the... I'm just going to remove or get your resolve down by 1 there. So, what are you guys thinking?
Well, I think Zeb would be super excited as from the exploring a new place no one's been to for, I don't know, potentially hundreds of years or...
this would have been... The Oations predate the gap, so this would have been thousands of years.
Oh, even thousands.
Okay. Oh, yeah. The gap was about a little more than 300 years ago, and then at that time there was interstellar travel and stuff like that. The time from the Oations is thousands of years before that, well before the loss of Golarion.
Yeah. So I think she'll turn to the others and go, this could be the one, guys. This could be the one that sets us up. You know, this could be the job that leads to the end of us having to do this.
It's a good thing that Zoe has 4 arms, because he has enough fingers then to count how many times Zeb has said that.
I think actually...
4 arms all folded up.
No, I think actually, surprisingly or not, Zozum's, all 4 of Zozum's arms are all independently swirling about. Screw the money. Let's just do it. This is great. This is really exciting.
Doc, as a xenoarchaeologist, is understandably thrilled about the prospect of this as well. So... the whole crew of the Solar Wave is absolutely on board for this. So,
but obviously we'll play it cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll leave
We'll
it at
cool.
least an hour.
Cool.
At least an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, we've talked it over. We are interested if you can send us the details on, where to. We'll take our own ship, I think, where we need to, go.
Okay. Then I will communicate that to the High Transiarch, and we will transmit the location for where to land and where to make, and the name of your contact at the place, which is called here. Yeah.
And I'll just check they're going to send someone to pick this guy up.
Oh, they are most definitely going to be sending someone to take care of him. You need not make a roll for this just because of the underground stuff, but Zeb, like the fact that they've had some delays in getting back to you, and the fact that they didn't just, for one, didn't have anyone meeting him here, it means one of maybe 2 things. One could be that the damage that the Rithel Navarre did to his network here might be more substantial than what he's letting on. Or alternatively, they could just have a smaller footprint here. This is a Lashunta-run city-state, so it may be that while the dragon is a is not necessarily hostile to anyone else, and other than elves, and even then, he is not necessarily hostile towards them. It still is a dragon, and it's still another political rival on the planet. So not everyone's just like, yeah, by all means, have your secret agents in our fucking city, you know. Even you know, the British aren't crazy about having American spies running around in it, right? So. What he tells you there, you're going to be traveling to a place called Waklahar's Expeditions. Ukalam is really the... I mean, it is in the West. I guess it is the Wild West. So it is really the most untamed part of Castrovel. It just doesn't see a lot of that. And what Waklahar's Expedition... Why don't you each give us a culture check? Let's see if you know anything about this. No, so not so much. So Zeb, you're aware Waklahar's Expedition is sort of a it is sort of the most well-known place from which to launch an expedition out to the into Ukalam, so it's probably not a surprise that they arranged something with him. Waklahar is a Lashunta, but he is said to be allied with a Formian, and the Formian are the third major species that populates Castrovel, and I can show you another. Let me get this refresh. Boom, there we go. These are what the Formian look like.
Wow.
They are hive. They do tend to have like hive structures for their communities too, but they're capable of independent thought. They're not like slave to any kind of hive mind. And if you look at any of the Castrovel equivalent of a website, here's what Waklahar looks like on the advertisements. So while Waklahar has set up more of a touristy, it's sort of like a very, very dangerous version of a safari on Castrovel. The fact that he's able to set that up also speaks to his capability of surviving out here and building something in a very hostile part of Castrovel. So having someone of his caliber and his partner's caliber, whose name, I don't want to leave him out here. His partner's name is something with a fun sci-fi name as well, which made me want to look it up. Zikibids. And I'll put that in chat for you. Actually, Zibiz, I think, is, or Shabiz, maybe is how you pronounce it. He's the Formian who he has partnered with, which means you've got two of the folk who who know the jungle, whose species know the jungle well enough. Elves are definitely creatures of nature and whatnot, but they more use traditionally magic and technology to shape nature to suit their needs, whereas the Lashunta and the Formian more... I mean, the Formian share a lot of qualities with that, with the construction of their hides. Lashunta have millennia of time living as jungle nomads and whatnot in Castrovel or on Castrovel, in addition to their ancient city-states. Kabarat dates back as well to like thousands of years before the gap. So that is where you're going to be traveling. Let's talk about how you're going to get yourself from here to your ship. Oh, Anna wishes you luck. What are you thinking?
Well, obviously wait for this guy to get collected, so that's all tied away.
Okay.
I mean, we've got the rental car, but do we want to use that? Because it's been identified in the chase and that.
Yeah, they said they had an option for transitioning us across, did they?
There would be an option, yeah. You are down near the port too, so if it either would be like by hydrofoil or by boat, or by boat would take a long fucking time. To give you context, like on travel on planet using ships is, let's see here. So the thing I love, a good sci-fi game giving me clear instructions on how long it takes shit to move. Knowing how all the tech works, right? Like what the assumptions are. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. It honestly makes it it's one of the things that makes it difficult when you're running a game that is based on a licensed property, is because like everything in licensed property moves at the speed of plot, so you can't say definitively like it takes you X amount of days to travel to the outer rim, or it takes you, you know, Y amount of months to travel from one quadrant to another quadrant, because the media is not concerned with that. It's not built from a game perspective. Traveling on planet will be 1D 4 hours.
Okay.
Should we just let them arrange the transport then back to our ship?
The transport that they're arranging is not back to your ship.
It's across.
It would be to Ukalam, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, should we go the whole hog then and just use their? I mean, so far they're holding
so.
up.
I think so. I quite like that. Yeah.
If we're sort of fully committed and go for it.
It seems to be an effective operator. So, yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that. Let's take the ride.
Okay. So then you that will be about another hour or so of arrangements, but then there is a like suborbital shuttle that's going to transport you from one to the other. It is the rickety Castrovellan equivalent of like the single prop plane that we see.
Plane, yeah.
Yeah. You would see the little red line going, you know. I mentioned to Darren I watched the new Indiana Jones film last night, so that may be fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
Anything you guys wish to talk about? First off, you guys will each have a chance to rest, to properly sleep during your travel, or like between now and the travel. So if you want to go in fresh, you'll get your full sleep, which allows you to completely restore your resolve points.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
And as you guys are traveling along the the trip over across the oceans to Ukalam, anything you guys wish to do before you arrive?
Is there anything? I'll look at Doc. Is there anything that we need to know about where we're going, based on very, very old records? It's unlikely, but I didn't know whether there was anything.
No,
or legends, or are we literally blazing a brand new trail again?
If Urvarsk has found Laskia Lua, it is if records and legends are to be believed, it would be an entire community obsessed with recording the history and the heavens as they were at their time. I am not aware of any other elven sect since the time of Candelaron who could construct Ayudara. And if any of those records give any indication for how that was constructed and how these were built, it could revolutionize interstellar travel. The riches to be found there. But if he has found it, we have seen what the rivals would wish of this. Others who would want that information. How long do you think its location will remain secret?
Yeah, I'm even wondering that now as we're going along. You know, can we have a look out the back window and run some sorts of scans? Are we being followed, or any little vessels that happen to be going a long way?
I think if you're thinking of how you chose to approach this, the fact that you didn't take your ship here probably made it easier to not just follow you as agents of them. So that's probably wise. And the junker of a suborbital shuttle that's taking you there, likewise, is probably about as inconspicuous as you can get.
Yeah.
I mean, based on what he paid you for the job, Urvosk certainly has resources to get a fancier and more high-profile thing. The fact that it's just a junker that's taking you around, it's the kind of because it only takes a few hours in a suborbital shuttle, same amount it would in your ship. It's relatively, it's not something that you would want to be paying every day necessarily, but it's relatively inexpensive to get yourself around. Probably no more so than a relatively short distance commercial flight in our day and age. Insert airlines chiseling people joke here, I suppose, but as far as the affordability of this and the expense, this is very relatively minor compared to what So, anything else you guys wish to contemplate or explore?
I will just ask Doc. This is quite a dangerous place for these undergrowths we're going into. Is there any antidotes or anything you need to be preparing that stop us from keeling over at some horrible little insect bite or something?
I can try and prepare what I can, but to be honest, there's very little medicine for being chewed up by a lizard beast the size of our ship.
Yeah, but I would hope that we'd hear that one coming. It's the little things that sometimes are most deadly.
Oh, indeed. There are growths of psychic moss that consume the living, terrible oozes that appear as puddles. Imagine hungry, acidic quicksand. That's to say nothing of the swarms of beasts that manifest strange, unnatural, arcane qualities. Swarms of insects whose beating wings can liquefy the food that they surround. There is very little antidote that can be prepared for such a thing.
Well, as long as you're aware of the dangers and you've got that covered, Doc, that's all I'm worried about.
As prepared as one can be, we are. I am preparing to focus directly on the ruins themselves and leave it to our guides to keep us safe. Or as safe as things can be.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It would be prudent to keep yourself aware of your surroundings, and if anything stings you or bites you, please be sure to tell someone.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
As a reminder, too, your suits, every one of your suits, can be completely sealed environments for 6 hours. Oh, no, so for 6 days.
Yeah, I'll be checking over that suit.
Make sure it's all set up. Yeah. Okay. The anything else you wish to ask about or explore before you arrive at Ukulam?
I mean, I'll do any sort of research that I would normally do about the environment and the place and just general sort of temperatures and anything that will just make it a little bit easier for us to.
It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. It would be. I can tell you about Ukulam as well. Other places you've heard in that are significant in Ukulam include the Caleria Maze, an especially thick bit of jungle where two small rivers form up the broad Ralhoma River. Attempts to map it, even with satellites, have utterly failed due to flora and fauna constantly changing due to some supernatural force. The Esawath Nexus is a Formian outpost on the planet, or on the continent. There's the Akal Expanse, a virtually unbroken stretch of deciduous trees overshadowed only by titanic mushrooms that sprout and wither within weeks. There are some enormous creatures called Yaraks that stomp around in there. And let's see, what else? Oh, and there's the Singing Range. These peaks that are riddled with alpine burrows that whistle faintly in the wind in the summers when the snow recedes from the highest peaks due to the ever-gnawing rock rats.
Rock rats.
Not a kind of thing you want to accidentally get on board.
No.
No. So, it is a exceptionally dangerous place to be, but I'm sure you guys will be fine. And that is what you're thinking, or at least what you are trying to convince yourself as you head down into... Oops, that was you guys. I need to duplicate you. I needed to bring back your friend Waklahar. So this is only one. You can picture there are like effectively a small town that is built up within the jungles of Ukalar that is all built very much like what you see on here. Stuff that has been built into the sort of the natural structures and whatnot, but the jungle has aggressively overgrown it in no time. As you guys arrive or disembark and make your way through here, trying to find the contact that you were going to be set up with, what you can find is that there are a ton of tourists here. Many of them are Lashunta. Many of them are dressed in kind of the Castrovellan equivalent of, like, you know, tourist khakis. And it's a wide variety of species from across the Pact Worlds who are in here as well. You even see lumbering past a family of uplifted bears, which are exactly what they sound like. Cybernetically enhanced bears that someone uplifted and gave intelligence at some point. You can find, with your comm devices, the place that you will be staying. It seems that you're being put up at one of the local lodges until your expedition is going to be departing. So it is not one of the Waklahar's expeditions offers a wide variety of different places, from the modest, experience to the moderate range to the no expense spared, kind of trips. You guys are at the lower end of that second one. So it is the kind of equivalent of a fairly clean motel. Each of these is built, it's sort of like, you can see there is a structure built into the rock there. I'm kind of picturing that's sort of what you guys are going to be going into. You'd check in at the base, you'd make your way up, and you'd have to walk, along to your to whatever place your rooms will be staying. You have 3 adjoining rooms where each of you will be staying. They expect that you'll be staying overnight only for the one day. There are a number of, places you can enjoy for tourists. Indoor, restaurants. There's at least 3 different varieties you can kind of choose from. And there are outdoor places if you wish to enjoy kind of the humidity and heat. You can do so and imbibe a number of beverages, many of which were manufactured here on Castrovel. There is no hubbub for you checking in. The rooms themselves are as nondescript as what a motel room can be. There doesn't appear to be any kind of surveillance, at least to the casual observer. You are truly traveling incognito. Now, Zeb, as a half-drow, you are one who... there isn't necessarily like a prejudice against drow among the average folk here. They may make that assumption, but there's so many species. The Vesk, their folk, and then their empire invaded the Pact Worlds about 50 years ago, and no one blinks an eye at seeing a Vesk nowadays. So it's not like people are like, oh, it's a drow, blah, blah, blah. But you are distinct, and you are a fairly rare thing, which means that if you wish to take any steps to try and conceal your identity, someone picking out a half-drow traveling with a Yasaki and a Kasathan would probably be an easy thing to look for. What are you guys thinking? What steps do you take, and what would you like to do with your day free here in Wachlahar's expeditions?
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep on the low. I don't want to, get my face out there too much. So I think I'm going to keep fairly close inside. I'm going to try and sort of get used to the environment, the temperature and stuff like that. But I don't want to get out and about and see more people than I need to, just in case there's still eyes and ears about.
I would say that one of the standard features that would be on your armor too would be like a polarizing, kind of screen on it to prevent against bright situations. There are species that cannot be exposed to certain kinds of atmospheres or need to be in environmental suits. You actually would see some. They're the Kalo, who are originally from the oceans of, I can't remember what place they're from, but I will show you what they look like. Partly because they're very cool looking, but also partly to give you an example that you could easily just have your polarized shield up and people wouldn't think twice. That's the Kalo. Like manta folk. And there is one in an environmental suit.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah. So you could easily...
I think I'll use that to my advantage.
Sure. And what would you guys like to do with your day? Doc, you can assume is going to be... Oh, go ahead, Graham. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think I would probably take Zeb's lead and actually just, if she's sticking around and staying low profile, I'd act as like extra eyes and certainly a bit extra arms,
Okay.
For her and make sure that she's protected.
I think just constantly watching, just suspicious, because this is a big thing.
It's massive.
It's a history-changing event potential. I'm not saying it's going to, but potentially.
Oh, it is. It is.
I can't believe that there won't be other people trying to get in on it at some point. So very suspicious. So just keeping a low profile and just watching and listening to everyone that we come into contact, whether it be just getting food and stuff.
Okay. So you settled yourself in, you've set yourself aside. It sounds like you guys are spending a lot of time in your room, probably. Fortunately, that amazing Zipzop marathon is extending on into yet another day, so, definitely benefits there. Right. And it is about 4 days in, 4 days and 4 hours of setting in when, Zeb, you get a message from the front desk. And it is a voice. It is not a voice. It is a message left that if they can just transfer, you don't need to go down and collect a physical version. They can just transfer the message up to you. And what is received is something written in Elven, in the Elven script. And it simply says, "I simply wish to talk. Please, I propose a drink at, and they give you a name of a watering, like one of the places to enjoy a drink outside here. If you prefer a different location or circumstances, I can accommodate. And the name that is given is Laneru, which is also an elven name.
But not one I recognize.
Not one you recognize, no.
So they know we're here.
It's not taking them long, is it?
No. Is it worth us getting Doc to check them out from a distance in a disguise of some description or something, maybe?
You could definitely do that. There would be photos, like cameras in their comm link in the same way as there is in like a cell phone. So if you wish him to either go cast invisibility at some point and go in and do that, he could also disguise himself too because of his spell cache.
I think I'll arrange to meet up in the bar area or wherever they recommended, and then discuss it with the other two, and get Doc to just turn up as any other sort of looking tourist, basically just copy someone that he just saw walking down the corridor,
Sure.
and just go and check out, see who it is, what they look like, whether he can see any others sort of looking over like heavies or that sort of thing.
Yeah. So he will maybe disguise himself as what would be common for on vacation.
I mean, even if it's just a member of staff in the bar,
Oh, yeah.
Like
Okay, that sounds great. So, yeah, he'll use disguise self to do so, to disguise himself as a member of the bar. And then he's got a good enough stealth, so he could probably find a place to cast invisibility in order to take the photo without, anyone noticing. Where would Zeb and Zoe be at this? This place is, the town is not huge, but it's one of those, easily get-aroundable kind of places. It's designed so that you can kind of make your way to the tours and to the, whatever the day trips are, or the multi-day trips out into Ukalam.
I mean, I assume once he's got the picture, he can just, WhatsApp us.
Yeah.
The picture or whatever, so we could potentially sort of stay in our safety of our room.
Sure.
Get the information before we decide what to do with it.
So what you find is the place that he's arranged you to travel, it definitely is a more more younger and more rough and tumble than what some of the other places are. Lots of folks sitting outside enjoying drinks and really enjoying their vacations, right? And sitting in sort of where she has positioned herself is fairly far away from as much on her own at a small table as she can be. And this is what she looks like. Either sunburned or with a bit of a pinkish hue to her skin. It looks like a fairly well-traveled elf. She doesn't seem to have any markings that you can see on her. And while she has a hood and scarf around her, notably, she's not wearing a mask. And she seems to be not checking her comm unit or whatnot. She just seems to be sitting, nursing a drink and kind of observing the crowd. You can give us a sense motive check if you'd like, Zeb.
Is this from Doc?
Yeah, not from Doc. This is from... Doc could do the same thing too. But I think Zeb, like, well, we said a photo, but he can easily set up a stream, right? Like
Oh, okay.
It's a sci-fi, so like he could easily have the bandwidth for it.
There you go.
Yeah. So what you can see, Zeb, is you saw the hostility and kind of even the restrained, predatory feel of when you met with those guys, the agents of the. Well, how would you characterize how the members of the Rithlin Havar, when they were disguising themselves as the dragon, how were they treating you before they revealed themselves?
Very abrupt, or very get it done. Let's get it done and move on. Offish. I don't think hostile at that point because they didn't want to put us off, but yeah, abrupt and to the point, I'd say. So,
in contrast, I mean, what you are able to witness is this person interact with the serving staff that's working there. One's, Doc's pretend co-workers, as it were. Mm-hmm. They go over, and she seems to be perfectly pleasant with them. Smiles, and then sort of sends them on their way. Or smiles and, you would guess it's saying like, no, I don't need another drink, or I'm waiting for someone, kind of thing. Definitely someone who strikes you as, she looks almost a little like when you first met Doc, like with Yasaki, and particularly Yasaki from Akiton. Akiton is a desert planet. There's tons of exposure to the sun, exposure to the elements. You just kind of have a weathered kind of look to you. But you also came to learn that with your time with Doc, that's also kind of a xenoarchaeologist thing. When you're spending a bunch of time out at digs and whatnot, you just have kind of his fur, you'll see, always has that kind of like blonde bleaching to it because of constant exposure to the sun and the elements. She has a bit of that too. Someone who probably spends a great deal of time outside.
Yeah, so probably local to this place.
Yeah, like although I mentioned that elves in general, when they're building their cultures and their structures and stuff like that, it's sort of like working nature around whatever they have planned. That's not to say that they don't produce some phenomenal folk who are like wilderness survival, experts, or scouts or rangers or things like that.
Mm.
What do you think? Do you think I should go and meet her?
I think so. Do you think she's Vindicator?
Possibly, but I'm intrigued how they know we're here already.
Yeah. I think
and why we're here. I assume they know why we're here.
I think you've got to go. I'll provide backup.
Okay. So yeah, I will.
Do you want Doc to continue Overwatch as in his disguise?
Yeah, he can keep the disguise going for 24 hours, couldn't he, or something?
Yeah, 24 hours.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, in case there's any sudden calls for.
Yeah, he can get rid of the invisibility side of it, but he'll subtly turn that off. But
as soon as he turns it off, someone comes over like, I've been looking for you. Like table 23, they need to get drinks. Can you get over there? Doc's like, to both them and you, understood. And carries on with it. So it would take you about maybe 15 minutes to walk over, including the sort of like public transport that would be available in a local, whatever like a sci-fi equivalent of a Segway would be, to get you speedily around this kind of tourist destination. Could easily get you over there. How do you guys want to approach this open? You can access this place through a building, or you can just walk through the kind of gate into the open pavilion. The sounds of the jungle are all around you.
Yeah, I mean, the secretive thing obviously hasn't worked, so I think we might have given up on that at this point.
Yeah.
But I think I'll go in sort of just before Zozum, so you know he can sort of watch me back, as it were.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to walk over to her. I'm going to sort of go near, like further down the bar or something, and wait for her to come to me to make sure she knows who I am and what I look like, sort of thing. I'm testing to see if, you know, she approaches me and she knows who we are.
Okay.
Or if she's just got the contact number from someone else.
And then Zoe, are you thinking of? Tell us how you're thinking of kind of blending here. I'm assuming you've also attuned so that you've got your bonus, your meditative bonus to your stealth.
Yeah. So I think I'll give it a couple of beats. Go in with another 2 that are coming into the bar of their own. So and almost blend with them as if I'm with them as a group. But then as they're in, keeping a very close eye on Zeb, I'll then peel off and head to the bar or whatever it is.
Okay.
And so I'm just take it. So it's as if I'm not with Zeb, I'm with another group, but then I'm suddenly on my own, and I'll wait and watch from there.
Okay. So why don't you give us a stealth check, and you'll be able to add 1d6 to that.
Okay.
It's a set of difficulty for her to kind of. It's pretty good. Wow. And then add 1d6. 27. All right. And Zeb, you go in. Do you make eye contact or look in the direction of this woman at all? Or just make yourself...
No, I'm going to make it obvious that I've walked in. So if someone knew who I was, they would see me walking in.
Okay.
But I'm not going to look over and I'm going to be, 4 or 5 people down the bar sort of thing, and order a drink, but not look directly in a direction.
Now, she would have left a contact... like a way of contacting her, effectively her like number or email address or whatever the sort of combined contact info that you would get for your comm link.
I would just say I'm here, just a text or
sure
message.
So Zoe, what you would see then is that she would be kind of looking around, and she sees Zeb at the bar. And then pulls up her comm unit. It seems to be on her arm, kind of touches some stuff, and then you get a message saying, would you like me to join you? Or would you be joining me? Or should we go elsewhere?
Well, I'll just say, please join me. We'll get a drink and we'll find somewhere to sit. So I just want to make sure that she, comes to me and picks me up.
Yep, so she gets over and walks and stands. I'm just going to move her up a scooch so you can see her name. There we go. She makes her way over and she leans against the bar without looking at you, and in common, she would say, should we continue with the subterfuge and seem as if I am talking to myself, or would you like to talk directly? And she's sort of like looking off as if she was like looking at the bartender while she's doing this.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you knew who I was and you just hadn't stolen our details from someone.
Now she looks over at you, and you can see she's got the distinctive kind of elven eyes where it's like one almost solid color through the whole thing. And she says, we acquired your information from others, but I assure you, I don't have any ill intent. I said in my message, I just want to talk. That is all I wish to do.
Yep, so I'll grab a drink, and I'll grab her a drink if she wants one.
Yeah, she finishes her drink and happily orders something different. It's just, there's some unusual fruits that you find on Castrovel. So there's like a fruit booze, or fruit and synthol kind of combo that she gets for it. This is the rough and tumble bar.
Am I picking anything up? And in terms of her having anyone else in this particular...
Good question. Why don't you give us a perception check? And we'll grant you a +2 to that because we're assuming Doc is also giving Overwatch.
Okay. An 18 then.
So it's 18. How do you feel about that? That was a 6 you rolled.
I could spend a point.
Yep, astonishing fortune for sure.
That's worse.
And it's worse. As far as you can tell, there is no one else in here who seems to be paying attention to this. But it's tough because there's a lot of people moving around. And there's a lot of tourists going around. There's a lot of noisy, and drunk tourists who are here too.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to trust my instincts a little bit and join the table.
Oh, you're going to go over and kind of stand on the other side of her. Okay. So you do so, and she looks over and she's, is your entire crew here, Captain?
In various forms, yes.
Good. There surely is a reason that the dragon hired you. I don't wish to be cryptic or to... I don't know the particulars of whatever happened in... how do I forget the name of the city already? Ukalov? No. Kabarat. I don't know the particulars of what happened in Kabarat, but I heard that there were difficulties there.
Complications, shall we say.
Indeed. I am not associated with those people. I know that I don't know how strong your connection is to your heritage, or how much, truth told, the elven part of your heritage, or drow, if you prefer. I don't know enough about their people, and I don't know how much is in common with ours. But I can tell you that the gap affected our people on an existential level. And there are many of us who have yet to see. There are many of us who have reacted poorly. Some leaning into already poor habits of our people, taken to a gruesome extreme, and others in an unwise manner due to fear. I do not represent any of those factions. I come to you as a proud member of my people, but recognize that our people belong in a larger community. What you have recovered for your employer is unquestionably an elven artifact. And I do not know the particulars of what he has asked you to do. But you would not be on Ukalam if you were not looking for the Lost City. The Lost City is also an elven heritage. Whatever is to be found, if the gates can still be opened, is also a legacy of my people. And I don't come to you demanding as alleging ownership. I don't come to you threatening. I come to you as a representative of a people who are collectively and deeply wounded. There are other species who hold the gap as a historical fact, but it remains a persisting wound for our people. And I would ask that you simply consider that whatever knowledge that can be gained from seeing your task through to completion might serve our people more as a balm for that persisting wound. Unless the effects of the gap can somehow be undone, it is not a wound that can be fully healed. But the loss of knowledge is what drives so many to such extremes. And the revelation of any such unknown knowledge might assist in mitigating the effects of that persisting wound. I just ask that you, however distant, whether you view it through your distant heritage, the shared common place of origin between our people, or simply as one who cares for others, to consider that. I can offer you no money or fame. I wish only to prevail upon to offer you an understanding of what good you could do for many with what you have been entrusted. I do not wish to waste any of your time. I know you have tasks before you. You have my contact information. I am at your disposal should you have any questions or wish to discuss this further. Otherwise, I do not wish to complicate things any more so than others of my kind have. And in considering them, I would ask that you think of what place such a loss would put you and how you might respond. And while I do not wish to excuse the actions of the Rithlin of our, or any similar of our kind, that you understand what might have driven them to such extremes. I think it would be rude. Allow me to leave you with a round. I'll make my exit. You can reach me at that contact number whenever you wish. Thank you for meeting, Captain. And Mr. Zoe. She flicks something on her comm unit to transfer some more credits in. The bartender behind kind of nods as if she's bought you another round. Unless you guys stop her or wish to ask her anything, she will turn and leave to leave you guys to discuss.
No, I sort of acknowledge what she said, you know, give her the nod of acknowledgement.
Yep. And she will leave. And she makes no effort to try to like hide herself or whatnot. She just leaves. Doc will keep an eye on her as long as she's within eye contact, but leaves the two of you at this bar.
Okay. And again, I'll ask, because Zeb is just getting more and more cautious. Ask Doc just to, you know, check if anyone else sort of fairly soon after gets up and leaves in the same direction, and, you know, similar sort
He
of.
does not see anyone.
No, I can assure you there's no one here. There's no one here.
So as a second round of drinks are brought and set before you guys, I'm not even sure you finish your first round in that limited amount of time.
No.
Doc says, doesn't seem to be anyone else with her. What do you make of what she said?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends what we find out there, but she's right. I mean, it could change a lot of lives. I don't know what the dragon's idea is, what he's going to do with this knowledge if it's out there and it's something that we can retrieve, whether he would share it or...
She represents more than just what she says, though.
Most definitely.
You know, she represents something, a faction, something, a group.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The fact that they know what's going on, or she was able to know what's going on, yeah, that you're right to be suspicious. That is not something that.
Oh yeah. All I'm saying is I don't think it changes our plan.
No.
It's just a factor of, you know, when we come out of it, if we think, you know, the dragon and his people are going to lock all this information away behind masses of sort of financial doors and things and not share it with the people that would benefit most from it, we could, you know, maybe share some information,
we haven't
whatever.
been party to what our employer has already been negotiating, if he has. And what would interest me is she represents a faction. Yes, she can come to us as the people who are hands-on, who are perhaps going to enact some change. But if I was them, and I'm not a negotiator in the way that she probably is, I would be dealing with the person controlling the impetus and negotiating, and possibly they're doing both, and they may already have spoken to him, or they may be trying to cut a deal, and he may well be, I don't know what he's doing.
Or they don't think they can get through to him, or they've already tried and failed, or
maybe they
they're
have tried and failed. Yeah,
cut corners, or take him out of the loop potentially, because they haven't got anywhere with that.
But you know, if it's a paycheck he's looking for, or if he's looking for anything out of this, then the people he's going to leverage are the elves.
Oh yeah. I think they're the most affected in the whole thing. You know, the gap has affected them potentially the worst out of everybody. So
it's one of those instances where, again, I'm not an elf, but if I was, I would say that it might coalesce and bring together apparently competing factions into a more focused effort for their own kin. So whether you are a vindicator, or whether you are perhaps like the ones we've met, or whether they are an apparent selfless cultural attaché to an entire kin that we've just met, in a way they will apologize for each other, but their goals are not that dissimilar.
It's just their methods.
But as you say, it probably changes nothing, but
at the moment, just move more food for thought.
Something to consider for a future session. So, because we have run to the end of our session, as is often the case, I have written far too much for never mind one session, for two sessions. But for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for this return to Starfinder with the Swords and Planets adventure. That is mislabeled. I should have updated the thing to Jungle Cruise. But as is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the adventure, the game we're playing, or today's session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion discussion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where we have channels dedicated to this game, most of the campaigns and games we run on the channel, as well as a ton of other great channels full of great people. You are more than welcome to join us over there. I've posted the character sheets from these characters over there as well, if you're curious as to what they look like stat-wise. There's also a link down below to something to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have a terrific selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. And if they do not have something in stock that is listed in their extensive catalog of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs, or board games or card games, you can put it on a want list, and they'll send you an email when it comes in, and then you can pick it up at your leisure. And if you do so, make sure to enter the code FALLMUSER, all caps, all one word, at checkout, and you will save yourself 10% on your purchase. If you're listening to this after January 15th, 2024, then come back to one of our more recent videos and you will find what the discount code is there, listed in the description of the video as with this one. There's also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages, which has been our charity fundraising campaign these last few years. We are just wrapping up today at the time of recording. We have a few hours left in 2023, but we'll be having information about what 2024's charity initiatives will be in very soon. But a huge thank you to everyone who has donated thus far to that this year. If you wish to make any last-minute donations, you can do so through that link. It all goes to the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, the incredible organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children. And all donations through that link go directly to them. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman. The last thing I will say is an enormous thank you to Graham and Darren. Thank you so much for playing a game you were not familiar with before, but you made the characters. I truly blame you for playing the characters in such an interesting and engaging way that made us spend so much time role-playing with them instead of barreling through the adventure. So thank you very much, guys. I mentioned this yesterday, but like Starfinder was one of those games that recently I had sort of had a revelation about and had a thought about a different way of approaching prepping and running the game, and this has been an enormous amount of fun for me, so I really appreciate it. I have much higher hopes for what I could do with Starfinder, having seen this in play, so thanks very much for that. Then for those listening at home, and as well for Graham and Darren, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our heroes are uncovering on the jungle planet of Castrovel. I mean, scheming elves and scheming dragons, where has that ever gone wrong? Jeez. We will be back in the new year with plenty of new games and plenty of new fun, and probably some more return. Well, definitely some return to Starfinder, whether it's with these heroes or with others. We'll have to see. But in the interim, we hope that we give you a few hours. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, happy gaming, and Happy New Year.